from Kenya to Colombia, from Iraq to Korea, in slums, in schools, in prisons, and in theaters. Every day, people gather at TEDx events around the world to hear the best ideas bubbling up in their communities. So please make sure to thank the team of volunteers who worked so hard on today's event. It's their ideas, dedication, and time that made it all possible. We hope their talks spark an exciting conversation among you. This is a day for curiosity and for skepticism, for openness and for critical thinking, for inspiration and for action. The more you enter into it, the more you'll take out. And now, on with the show.
Plants are nature's way of feeding Earth's organisms. Plants give us everything we need: energy, shelter, and air. They are the world's most famous and important producers. But has man gone too far and turned our beautiful plants against us into deadly organisms? Transgenic plants are plants that have been genetically engineered using recombinant DNA techniques to create plants that have new characteristics. These plants fit into the category of GMOs, or genetically modified organisms. They make these plants through infecting it with plasmids or vectors that carry the desired gene or trait. The main idea of transgenic plants is to introduce a new trait that does not naturally occur in a species. There have been large amounts of arguments on whether these plants are a good or a bad thing. These new inventions can be great technologies that provide better food sources that are more sustainable. The good effects of these plants on human health include improved nutrition, insect resistance, disease resistance, herbicide resistance, and salt tolerance. But the plants can have negative effects on agriculture and even cause antibiotic resistance in humans to life-saving medications. So the big question is, are transgenic plants good or bad?
Genetically modified foods are causing many issues for their consumers, like environmental and human health issues. Although GMO food is a great invention to the world, they do have some negative side effects. Though many ignore this, the surrounding environment is affected by the growth of transgenic plants. Farmers tend to plant GMO plants next to their non-GMO plants and believe it won't affect the growth of the other plants. The truth is, in some cases, the GMO plants pass their trans genes to non-GMO crops. Many believe that GMO plants are harming birds, bees, butterflies, and other animals that consume these plants or live in their soil. Do we really want to hurt these innocent animals? The best strategy to help protect the surrounding environment is to develop these plants in a separate environment and not outside where they can contaminate non-GMO plants. It would be grown with the same factors in an outside environment, for example, a greenhouse. This would not solve all the problems that come with transgenic plants, but it would help separate the two and protect the animals.
As all of you may know, vegetables and fruits are grown on farms, and on farms you find lots of bugs. Some specific bugs like to eat these crops grown on these farms. No farmer wants or mostly can afford losing their crops, so they spray a chemical called pesticide. This substance repels, kills, and controls plants, also known as herbicides, or animals, also known as insecticides, that are considered to be pests. Everywhere we go, there are pesticides. Though they may seem all nice, there are some bad effects to these chemicals. They are sprayed on land, but they can make their way to water sources. For example, runoff would cause these pesticides to go into a river, pond, or the ocean that would harm fish and other animals. It could also get into groundwater, which some people rely on as their water supply. A study published in the journal Analytical and Bioanalytical Chemistry revealed that Roundup herbicide are present in many waterways and groundwater sources throughout America. Another example is through air. Pesticides can transfer into gas or vapor, allowing it to travel to other areas and harm wildlife. pesticides are harmful to humans because when we eat pesticides, which we do a lot, they are stored in our colon, and some consider it as poison. For example, if you're eating a non-organic fruit, the truth is you could be eating up to 30 different pesticides, even if you wash it before you eat it. Studies show that pesticides could be linked to cancer and other diseases. So what do pesticides have to do with transgenic plants? Well, transgenic plants create herbicide-tolerant, genetically modified crops, which lead to an increasing amount of herbicides. But transgenic plants also produce insecticide-producing genetically modified crops, which lead to a decreasing amount of insecticides. Again, the question is asked, are transgenic plants good or bad? Human health is a very important issue to this topic. These plants may create allergies, cancer, Alzheimer's disease, and other illnesses that are just harmful to the body. Not a lot is to know about transgenic plants, partly because they are still work in progress, but people believe that allergies, resistance to antibiotics, and DNA originating from a different source like viruses or bacteria might cause health issues to humans. A website said, every effort should be made to avoid the introduction of known allergens into food crops. Information concerning potential allergens and natural plant toxins should be made available to researchers, industries, regulators, and the general public. To read more, visit nap.edu. The only solution to stop these effects is to simply not buy or consume a product that is genetically modified, that you know is harmful towards you. It is very important to be aware of the risks and effects of these products. A genetically made product has a label addressing that they are genetically modified. Some products do not have a label, and the answer to this is simply because we are not aware that these products are genetically altered. Another way is for a nutritionist to be present to help regulate the amount consumed or produced. If there is an increase to levels of a gene in a transgenic plant, it could decrease the nutrition amount needed in the plant. Nutrition in some food that are grown without genetic alteration is known to protect their consumers from cancer, but with these alterations, it decreases this nutrition that may protect us. A 2011 study published in the Journal of Proceedings of the National Academy of Science found that Bacillus thuringiensis, or BT, a bacteria engineered into Monsanto's GM corn, could be found in hundreds of streams and waterways throughout the U.S. Midwest. Transgenic crops that produce Bacillus thuringiensis toxins are used worldwide to control pests of corn and cotton. The developing strategies to delay on evolving pest resistance to Bt crops need the understanding of components that have an affecting response to natural selection, which this includes variation in survival on Bt crops, heritability of resistance, and fitness advantages that are involved with resistance mutations. Two main strategies for delaying resistance are the refugee and the pyramid strategies. Manipulating cost and fitness of resistant individuals on transgenic insecticidal crops could be very important for preventing evolution of resistance in pests. The refugee strategy has successfully delayed resistance, but the gathering of resistant pests could accelerate. In conclusion, the best for all is to stop the productions of transgenic plants. The things on Earth were put here naturally, and they should not be modified by humans to do different things than they were meant to be. We've already hurt our environment so much, and yet we still continue to hurt it every day just by simple things that seem to be harmless but are actually could be so harmful. Transgenic plants and GMOs are a great invention, but to look over it, it has so many bad effects. So why keep something that's so harmful? The best to do is to get rid of it or manage it thoroughly where it doesn't harm anyone or anything that surrounds our everyday living.